Good afternoon and welcome to the Rockus Blum Computer Consulting Monthly Webinar Series. As always, we will be recording this and we'll post it to our YouTube channel and our website later this week. Now, my name is Kelly Bergman. It's my pleasure to welcome you to our monthly webinar series featuring Sage Data and Analytics. Today we have David and his team with Zap here to dive into their functionality. As always, if you have any questions during the webinar, please click the little Q&A button at the bottom of your screen and enter your question. We'll try to address them all at the end. With that, David, I'm going to let you take the floor.
Super. Thank you, Kelly. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today's session. I just turned on the camera to say hi, and I'm very excited to be here with you. Well, we're going to focus on something very interesting, which is actually very relevant for financials, operations, any team within the organization, which is analytics and how we can enhance this reporting experience in Sage. So having said that, I want to start with a bit of a reflection. I want to ask you, how easy is for your team to analyze your Sage data today? How do you consolidate information from multiple companies? Let's say that you have one data source per company. How do you combine the budgets and the forecasts that not all the time are living inside Sage, but they might be living inside an Excel file? So most of the times we fall back into what we know the best, our best friend, Excel. And we manually export the data, we copy, we paste, we adjust formulas, we reformat, we add look B, look H, and hours go by and mistakes happen, right? This is a manual work. And the problem is that just when we think we were done, we need to get ready because the cycle starts again and we need to be prepared for the next month. So this is not just frustrating. The real issue here is that the challenge is not that creating reports is what gets delayed, but the decisions are and the entire strategic momentum. So risks stay hidden, opportunities, we forget about opportunities, and suddenly you find your team in a constant state of stress and reaction instead of focusing on what really matters, which is a proactive growth. So that's why we are here today. We are going to talk about faster, close, trusted numbers, and that's exactly where Zap, which we also know as Sage Data Analytics. I will be referring today more as Zap as it is shorter, but that's where Sage Data Analytics comes in. So what it is a proven solution that helps Sage customers turn their data into confident and actionable decisions. And all of this is a journey. And the first stage of the journey is the data collection, where I'm actually highlighting now. And that's where we centralize data from multiple Sage companies. That's where we can actually consolidate and bring information of different data sources. For example, the budgets and the forecasts that might still be living in Excel. That's where we can consolidate so we can build one single source of truth. But not only there, we can also combine information from multiple data sources like a CRM, WMS, or maybe historical data, right? So we are centralizing everything into one single governed data model, which means that we have one single source of truth. And in here is where we transform and structure the raw data that we have into meaningful insights. So we are forgetting about that manual work that we do every end of the month, right? And the best part of this is that you can visualize, you can consume this data in whatever works best for you and your team. It can be using consuming in Excel, which I'm going to show you that capability, but it can be also consumed in a mobile device using Power BI. Or you can actually consume the information using our own visualization layer, which is Zap, using your web browser, right? So, and what makes us stand out, and this is relevant and unique for the Sage industry, is that it's about not WhatsApp does, but how quickly we deliver the value to Sage. Something that I want to highlight a lot is that we are not generalists. We specialize in Sage, right? So we are designed to seamlessly integrate with Sage. And what that means is that we are a plug and play solution. We understand how Sage works. So within a matter of days, we will be able to connect to your Sage data and from there deploy hundreds of reports from different modules: financial statements, sales reports, inventory reports, procurement, manufacturing. So that's where the value sits within the platform, right? About the time to value. So as I mentioned, we are not just a product, we are a solution built for Sage. But the best way to understand this is to see the product in action, to see a live demo of the product. So I will start by quickly giving you a glance on how our visualization works, how you can actually analyze and consume the information using the web browser, using Zap. And then I will highlight other ways of how we can consume the data, which can be analyzed using Excel as well, which I know many of you already rely on Excel on a daily basis. And just to show you the full range of possibilities, I'm also going to show you Power BI and how we can actually consume the information analyzing Power BI. So having said this, I'm going to stop sharing the presentation and I'm going to share now my screen with Zap. So Kelly, Rohit, can you just please confirm with me if you can see Zap?
Yes.
Perfect. Super. So as you can see, this is Zap, this is the solution, how it works. And the first thing that I want to highlight is that this is a web-based application solution. So that means that everything here will be about control and collaboration. You will be able to analyze information as any other web browser solution, your data in your laptop, but you can also analyze this inside a mobile device, or you can even embed the dashboard and the content of these reports inside, for example, other applications such as SharePoint or maybe Teams. That's something that we do. As I mentioned, everything is about control and collaboration. So you will be able to store your reports in a favorite folder. You will have your personal workspace for your own personal content and reports. And we will be able to have public folders. And in this space, you will be able to basically create workspaces to promote collaboration. So in a way, you can have, for example, in this case, your financial workspace, and only your financial team will have access to the content that it's here that can be sensitive to share with a greater audience. Right? Now, what I mentioned, remember that I mentioned during the presentation that we are a pre-built solution for Sage. We are a plug and play solution. And what I'm showing you right now, this is the out-of-the-box content that we offer. We have pre-built analytics for finance, inventory, manufacturing, procurement, and sales, right? But what I really want to highlight here is that I didn't see this as an acceleration. At the end of the day, every customer is different. And I'm sure your business, you have your own customizations, your own way of running your business. So this is as a handicap, so you don't start from scratch, right? And you can always customize this content to tailor this to your own specific requirements. I'm going to start by showing you a couple of dashboards from the pre-built content so you can get an idea of what we offer and how you can consume this content using our platform. And I will start by one of my favorite reports, which is the Chief Financial Officer dashboard. And the reason why I like this dashboard is because, have a look at it. In one single screen, we are summarizing the most important metrics and financial metrics that are telling me how my business is performing, right? So on the right-hand side, we get ratios related to a balance sheet statement. We're analyzing my capital structure. I'm analyzing where are my assets, liabilities, what is current. And when we compare those metrics, we get working capital ratios and liquidity and leverage ratios. On the center of the screen, we are analyzing also very important financial metrics. We're analyzing cash flow performance metrics, where we can see how our accounts receivables and accounts payables are performing. We can mix them together and we can analyze the cash to cash cycle and cash flow performance. And finally, on the left-hand side of the screen, we have ratios related to the profitability of business, right? We are analyzing what are the inflows and outflows of money, and we can go all the way from the net sales to the operating profit. So as you can see, this is a very short, sweet, and simple overview about the business, right? And we are not going into the detail. I'm going to show you that how we can go to the lowest level of the detail. But I want you to see what are the ingredients, what are the components that this dashboard has. I often make the comparison that SAP, that creating a report is like preparing a great dish. And what you see on the screen, this dashboard, it's the final presentation. But I want you to think and go beyond the visualization that you are seeing here. I want to think about what is happening behind the scenes and all the work that was required to populate this dashboard. Think about how we are transforming the data, how we are doing currency conversions, how we are doing financial consolidation, how we are mapping the chart of accounts. All of that, all of those ingredients are already baked in, so you can actually use them, right? And the real value, as I mentioned before, is not about this dashboard. It's about how you can actually combine these ingredients, how you can customize this content and tailor this to your own specific requirements, right? So you can customize any content of this if you want to change any chart, or if you want to change the way how you calculate, for example, the quick ratio. All of this is customizable. Now, this is not a static view. We can always interact with the report. As I mentioned, if you are using Sage 100 and you want to analyze one company, we can analyze information in a isolated way. But if you want to consolidate the data and include eliminations intercompany, currency conversion, that's something that we can do as well, right? A nice feature that I want to highlight here is that any metric that we have here, let's think for a moment on the gross margin. It can be the ROE or the working capital ratios. If we think about all of these metrics, I'm going to expand this screen because here I see something very interesting happening in the data. I can see quickly with this visual that on the month of June of 2025, I have a big drop in my gross margin, right? On the month of May, my gross margin was something around 48%. But on the month of June, my gross margin dropped. And let's say that for my industry and for my business, I don't want to go below 25%. So what I can do here is that I can create workflows that will trigger an alert, that will trigger an email telling me, hey, be careful, your gross margin is below 25%. And that email can attach certain reports, maybe a cost reports, right? Or maybe a revenue report. So I can understand what are the reasons behind my gross margin being below my limits, right? And the best part of it is that, remember that I also mentioned during the presentation that we can combine information from multiple places to have one single source of truth. Well, I want to highlight that concept right now because we can also do cross-functional reporting. We want to analyze here my cost, my sales, right? why am my gross margin is dropping down in this specific period? Is it because of the sales? Is it because of the cost of sales? And let's say that I want to dive and I want to understand a bit more about my sales issue. And if you want to drill down, you might want to analyze your sales from the financial perspective, which is the income statement perspective, or you can go and drill down the data from the operational lenses, the sales lenses. What am I selling? The sales invoices. So all of these journeys that I'm selecting, you can select how you want to drill down into the data. That's up to you. I just want to show you that we can always analyze and drill down information from different lenses, because at the end of the day, all the data is connected, and what we are bringing here is one single version of the truth. Now I came into this report, which is a financial statement. I'm analyzing the profit and loss statement. So still I am with the financial lenses. I have my income statement with some visuals that are complementing the information here. But just let's focus on income statement. We have my chart of accounts. I'm breaking down the data by month and by year. I have the actuals, budgets, and the variation. Think about how long it takes you to build a financial statement generally. I have seen companies that we have an army of Excel files, which a lot of tabs, and then we export the trial balance, and then we sum, we look bill, we reduce, we make certain manual adjustments. Here, we are going to automate all of that process, right? So you don't need to worry about that, and we can actually analyze information backwards or break this information down by segments, by cost centers, departments. So the solution is very powerful when it combines the data. Something that I want to highlight here, and this is an exercise that we will be doing later, is that I see that I have a problem here. My budget is empty. And as I mentioned many times, we are not populating the budgets from our ERP. But maybe we have the budgets in Excel. Well, that's not a problem. We can integrate information from multiple places, such as Excel, to automatically extract the budget, populate here, so you can always have your budgets in this specific report, right? And if I want to go to the lowest level of detail, let's say that I want to analyze also my expenses, I am quite conscious that my expenses are high, especially my operating expenses. So if I want to analyze and understand where are my operating expenses high, I can simply double click in this figure, and this figure will get me to the lowest level of detail, which is the transactional level, right? So now I will be able to see all those general ledger entries, right? All of those transactions that happened for this specific month. I'm analyzing July. So I want to give you this idea that we went from a very high level overview dashboard that contained information in a very short, sweet, and simple way. We were able to then drill down the data into a very specific report, which was an income statement. And from there, we were able to go to the lowest level of detail, which is the transactional level. So again, all of these drilling down features is something that we will be able to, interact with the solution. We can collapse, expand the data, so we can have, a much better overview about our data. Now, as much as I like visualizing the information in ZAP, and as much as this is where I want every one of you to go to analyze your information in one centralized place where you are automating the whole journey, we cannot ignore that we still love using Excel, right? And many of us will still get at the end of the month, we will have our financial statement and we will want to export the report in Excel, right? And so one way of how we can consume the data is also using Excel. So I'm going to now bring Excel here into my screen. So the first way to visualize the data was using our platform, which I showed you how we can interact. The second way of how we can actually interact with the data is using Excel. So what we have here is just a Excel file that has many tabs, right? What we usually do when we're creating the financial statements. We'll see that in one tab we have the trial balance, and here, apologize, maybe I could have added more color to make this more visually compelling. But here I have my trial balance, where I have opening balance, movements of the last 6 months, and then my closing balance. And what you will see here is that this report that I have here, this is mirroring a report in Zap. So we have actually in Excel, we have a feature, which is this Excel Live add-in, which what this is basically doing, the report that exists in Zap, any report that exists here, we can actually mirror them and show them in Excel, as long as they are in a table format. So an exercise that I will do, I remember that I mentioned that here we don't have the budgets. Well, I will make an exercise to, mirror this report that we have here and add the budgets using Excel. So these reports that I have here, as I mentioned, they are mirrored. So if I change any number, let's see if it works, because I have this already logged in for a quite long time. So I may need just to redo it. Yeah, I think it's not going to, I need only to log off and log on again. But since these cells that we have here, they are extracting data from Zap, what basically happens is that the numbers automatically are automated and populated here. So there's no manual work that we need to do. And then after that, I'm building some financial statements. I'm bringing here my balance sheet statement, my income statement. Again, all of this is mirrored from Zap. I have my profit and loss statement using a different format, and also the funds. And what I have here, I just created these, which are my budgets. So I want to show you a couple of things of what we can do. This Excel add-in will allow us to actually bring reports, mirror reports that we have in Zap. So if we want to bring an Excel report here, let's say that I want to create a new query and I want to bring here my income statement. I just need to write the name of the resource. I think this is the name of the resource. Yes, the profit and loss statement. All of the resources, all of these list of resources that you actually see here, it's already added. Where did here I have it. Let me just, where it is. Okay, never mind. I will drag and drop another report. For example, a trial balance. Let's hope that this one. Let's load it. So what we're actually basically doing is I am mirroring and bringing that report here, right? So now it's busy loading the data, and now we have the report here. One of the things that in SAP or in any visualization solution, Power BI, think about Power BI or any reporting solution, is that a BI, a reporting solution, is used to read the data. The moment that we start writing data, well, we lose credibility on the solution. But Excel is very good at that. So in here, we can actually make certain calculations if we want to group, if we want to make sums. This is something that we can actually do. Let's say that we want to build an income statement and then we want to create a different grouping. That's something that we can easily do here. And let me see if here it works, since this is fresh. And let me see if I refresh this. If these figures come, no, I will need to log in again. But these numbers should automatically, refresh and all the information is coming from the database. Now, another feature that we have here is that we can actually create a report here remember that we are creating one single source of truth, right? So all of those ingredients that I mentioned, we can actually create a report from scratch, like a pivot table using Excel. And you can do this using our own platform. You can do the same logic using Power BI. Everything is the same because at the end of the day, we are reading to the same ingredients, right? So from here, I'm going to select my data model. So let's say that I want to build it from my demo data model. And I'm going to build a financial statement, right? A balance sheet statement using this approach. Following again the analogy of the ingredients, I can see here all the ingredients, right? Yeah, because I'm admin. So we are providing you with metrics and calculations, and this data model that we have contains information from accounts payables, accounts receivables, inventory, procurement, everything, right? Sales, financials. But you can limit this access based on your role, right? So you can say, hey, only my financial team will have access to the financial data, right? So again, right now I have access to everything because I'm admin, but I'm going to build a simple report. So I'm going to add maybe, let's say, the actual amount here. I will add my credit amount and my debit amount. We know that we don't have budget in this database. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to then break this data down by the accounts, right? So maybe I will drag here my chart of accounts. I will select my balance sheet accounts, right? And then I want to say that I want to see. So it's again, it's like building a pivot table, right? I have all of these ingredients here, and see here, all of these ingredients are like in plain English, easy to understand, easy to we don't need to prepare anything. So we can say that in a very short period of time, I have here a balance sheet statement where I have my hierarchy. This is my chart of accounts that I have configured in my system. And I'm just breaking down and see how easy it was to build a financial statement in Excel. And now, as I mentioned, what are the use cases? Well, we see that we don't have the budgets in ZAP. So if I add the budget here, this column will be empty. But I have here another tab which does contain the budgets, right? So, you can use formulas here like look B, or look X. I think it's X lookup. If I'm not mistaken, let me give a try. And I want to add in this cell, I want to add my budgets. Let's see if I'm creating the calculation correct. And there we go. We have here the budgets. And see how simple it was to create this report. And maybe we want to create later on the variation and variation percentages. So, all of these calculations are very simple. This is one way of doing it, just using the Excel adding capabilities. I mean, I just wanted to highlight this and stress this feature out because that's a new feature that we just released this year, and it has become widely popular. And just to mention as a quick glance and a quick overview, another way that we can actually consume the data is using Power BI. If any one of you is already familiar with Power BI or is already using the solution, these same reports can be consumed and analyzed here using Power BI, right? So all of these components that you see here on the right-hand side are the same ingredients that I showed you in Excel, right? So the real value here is not about how we visualize the data. It's about how we are getting to the right data, right? Is that backstage, transformations where we're preparing the ingredients and baking them for you, right? So I just wanted to highlight that this is another way of visualizing the data. Going back into SAP, I want to finalize the analytical section by showing you not what comes out of the box, but what kind of reports we can actually build and some interesting use cases. I have been highlighting throughout the presentation that, the value is how we extract the data, how we prepare the data, but having also one single source of truth. And one of the customers that we had, they were mentioning to us like, your pre-built content is great. Your pre-built content gives us a very good starting point. We can customize and tailor that to our requirements. But something that is relevant for us that it's not in your previous content is to create a cash flow forecast. And the challenge here is that not all the information exists in the ERP, right? To create this cash flow forecast, and I'm going to start by explaining the table that we have below. We have the opening balance, which these are the banks. This comes from my general ledgers. And obviously we can break this down by currencies or by banks or by regions or, But then that's what I have right now. If I want to forecast my cash in the future, well, I need to know what are the receivables and what are the payables, right? And this is just one way to forecast here the data. There are multiple ways. So we want to know that those outflows and inflows of money. The problem is that this information about expected payment dates or the due dates is not in the financial module. It's in the accounts receivable and accounts payable in the subledgers. So we need to combine information from three different modules, right? That's not a problem. That's something that we can do. The third challenge here is, okay, we have information that sits in Excel, as I mentioned before. They are going to hire people. They're going to buy a new machinery. And that information is not sitting in the ERP. This is part of a master plan because they know that they might need to, buy new machinery, maybe expand their facilities, buy a fixed asset. But that transaction has not yet been posted in the ERP, right? It might have people in the future. So what we did is that we brought information from that master plan into the system. So we're bringing one single source of truth that combines financials, receivables, payables, and those other cash events into one single place so we can forecast how my cash flow will look like in the next 13 weeks. And using advantage of the features that I mentioned before, we can create that business alert that can tell me, hey, be careful. On the week 30, your bank balances will be below your limits, which is 50K. So be careful because you are running out of balance and that is dangerous for your business, right? So we can see this in this chart. It's actually highlighted in red. So again, it's about how we can use all of these features and how we can combine these features so you can take the most advantage of it. So now before we wrap up, I just want to quickly highlight some exciting new features that also we have. So I'm going to go here into the designer mode. This is typically the environment and the look and feel of how I create new resources. Right now, I didn't cover creating new reports in Zap, but if you have interest, I'm happy to deliver a much more in-depth demo of the product. But what I want to highlight here is that within the solution, we offer in-app training, in-app videos. So the whole idea, we have the philosophy that we believe that nobody knows your business better than you do, right? And this solution will be powerful if you actually adopt the solution, if you use it, if you learn how to use it, if you start expanding the functionality of the out-of-the-box reports. So that's the reason why inside the solution there are a in-app training, right? So you can learn the solution at your own pace, right? And in addition of that, we have here also our chat box. This is our AI agent that we have, a AI assistant, which is also designed to guide you through all of this adoption process. And it's here to help you answer quick questions. For example, if I ask, how do I create a chat? I mean, something simple. It will look at our documentation and it will provide you with accurate responses. It's quite handy. I use it a lot, especially when I want to find specific links on the documentation. I think it's a great assistant. That's where we are investing. Our commitment to the AI is big. It's part of our vision. And we want to get into the stage where actually this assistant can also help us to create reports, right? So having said that, I will start wrapping up. the conclusions. Share my screen again. So as you can see, SAP is not just a reporting product. It's a solution. It's a solution that already understands SH. It's an acceleration. It's a solution that is flexible, that has a pre-built content that will help you reduce the risk of any implementation, but also will give you the flexibility to analyze the information in the tools that best works for you, right? So I am very excited about the future that it holds, and I can wait to see you how you can actually use SAP to achieve even greater success. So with that, I will hand over to Rohit and to see if there are any questions or if there is anything he would like to add.
There was one question.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, is it possible to change the format to show negatives in parentheses, for example?
Yes, yes, that's correct. So basically, and I will show you maybe this here. Creating a report. This is using our own platform to create reports. If I create here, again, for example, that same balance sheet statement that I created in Excel, I'm going to have drag and drop here my accounts, right? And it's, the same. Oops, I'm actually adding them in the wrong place, right? So these figures that we have here, for example, revenue, expenses. This is more for an income statement. We can always select here how we want to actually show the numbers. So the negatives can be in red, or we can have a customized way of showing the numbers where the negative can appear in parentheses, or we can show this in currencies. So all of this is customizable, right? So for example, right now I'm showing this in pounds. So this is using our solution. This can even be configured coming from the data model. So we have this option, which is the cube. This is how it is configured in the data model. So as in the data model, it can come with that format. And if you want to use Excel or Power BI, Excel has those capabilities to just show the numbers as a percentage or negatives in brackets. So yeah, we do have that feature. One feature that I didn't show, and we have many features. It's hard to bring everything in one single demo. But one feature that we have is that I mentioned that we can send notifications where a metric is out of its boundaries, right? Out of its thresholds. But we can also send these reports in an automatic manner. For example, let's say that we want to automate and send a report every month for my financial team. We want that famous annual report back, right? So we can automate that as well. So for example, this is something that I built for a customer. All of this is demo data now. But I have here my financial dashboard, the CFO dashboard. You can see that I have here with certain customizations. And then I am bringing the financial statements. These are the same that I showed you in the Excel that were in BEF. I have here the balance sheet statement, the profit and loss statement. Something very interesting here is that this was a company that acquired another company, so they wanted to compare, the performance of these two companies. And then we have the notes to the financial statements, where I have my income statement, but I have here text, which is describing what I have here. And these figures that I have here, these numbers, these are dynamic measures. So that means that if we create the report again tomorrow, these numbers will change based on this new context, right? So yeah, here we have the profit and loss statement again, and the another profit and loss statement. This is by financial dimensions, and then an expenses report. So again, the system is automating all that process, is automating that burden that we are extracting the data, we are preparing the data, we are applying all of those business rules, we are populating the reports, but we are also distributing the reports automatically based on business alerts, or notifications, allowing us to analyze information in whatever works for our team. Excel, Power BI, PDF files, or inside application. I just thought that this would be nice to show.
Can we pull payroll data from outside source like ADP?
Yes, I would say so. If you can just please share with us what is the version of your system, I will make a research, but I wouldn't see any reason why we couldn't extract information. We usually, payroll is one of the data sources that we bring commonly. So I will just need to review what is the version of your system and to see what are the protocols to extract the data. But my short answer is we should be able to extract data.
I think, David, usually it's a SQL database.
Yes.
So yeah, we should be able to easily connect and get the data.
I would like to quickly thank the Zap team for all their hard work putting this together. We truly do love this product. And of course, thank you to the attendees for taking time out of your busy schedule. We know your time is valuable, and we sure do appreciate you spending some of that with us. And with that, I would like to wish everybody a happy afternoon, and we'll see you next month.
Yeah, sorry, Kelly, just wanted to add, because I just looked at somebody's comment, can we see this live? So yes, we do offer free trials. So we are very happy to connect to your Sage system and show this product with your data. So you can see what we're talking about. So if there's interest, please let Kelly and team know, and we'll make that happen for you. It's a non-chargeable exercise. We're very confident about the technology, and we have over 250 clients that use it. So on Sage. So yeah, very confident that that will work for you with your data. Whether it brings value or not, that's relative. So happy to connect to your data for sure, if that's required. Okay,
All right.
good. Great.
Perfect.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, everybody. Cheers.
Thanks again. Have a great day, everybody.